Hey, y'all. Happy Thursday evening. Welcome back to another What Else is Going On podcast episode. I am your girl, your host, Taria. Ooh, child, listen, parted. If y'all are watching, parting the look, it has been not a long day, but like a busy back to back to back to back to back to back day. I was working, then I took a break to work out. And then it was a short workout. It was only 35 minutes, but still. So then went back to work and now I'm home getting ready to give y'all my Real Housewives of Beverly Hills recap. For my members, I will be then doing the after show for Beverly Hills Watch Along. Then I'm going to take my notes for Salt Lake City so I can get that out tomorrow at the very, very latest Saturday. But while we have these three shows, Potomac, Beverly Hills, and Salt Lake City, you're probably going to get three episodes a week, because I don't really want to hold. Beverly Hills comes on Tuesday. I don't really want to hold that till Friday. I don't know. I'll just let y'all know week to week, but definitely I'm trying to stick to my Tuesday and Friday schedule. And like I said, Beverly Hills may be the bonus thrown in. So let's get into it, y'all. First up, wait a minute, let me move my little so I can see my notes and stuff. All right. Move. Okay, let's get into it. So we start out at Kyle's house, and she just got, I'm not Kyle, Lord. We start out at Garcelle's house. She just got the opening scene of the movie that she produced, and she sees her name come up as producer, and she's getting teary-eyed, and that she wishes her mom could be there. And I really was excited for Garcelle. You know, I can't imagine something, you know, she went from acting to now being able to produce and act. And then, you know, you're doing it as you're doing it, right? But then when you see it come to fruition, probably the long hours, maybe some tears, some emotion, and then you see your name as executive producer, that had to be beautiful. So shout out to Garcelle Bouvet. We get to Dorit's house. Dorit is putting sunblock on Jagger, honey. Erica is at her house. She's looking at designs. She wants to redesign her house, but then she's looking at the price also, like, oh my God. So yeah, there's that. Next up, we're at Jennifer Tilly's house. Child, she's giving her doll a bottle of wine. Her dog, Tiffany, her doll, Tiffany, ain't no way. So we see Jennifer's assistant, Jeff. Kyle arrives. Kyle tells Jennifer how nice her house is. It's so pretty. Jennifer says, I actually live next door. So in her confessional, she says, I have a lot of properties. I have a property in Las Vegas because my boyfriend and I are professional poker players. I have a beach house in Malibu, but we never go there because there's a ghost there and he really doesn't like us being there. And then she says, I can't blame him. So you is paid off. Like, are you still paying for it? Like, it's just sitting. Mm. She says she has two places in Bel Air right next to each other, and they are at her playhouse currently for her party. Kyle says, I think I have that dress and that jacket, talking about what her doll Tiffany has on. And Jennifer let us know that the dress was made by Gaultier for the doll, and it was $4,500. Sutton then arrives with some drinks. So Kyle asked them if they have their outfits ready for her denim and diamond party. She said it's her first party she's ever done without Mo. Sutton says you might find it liberating. You might finish the party and be like, hell yeah, this is Kyle's house. In her confessional, Kyle says it feels funny to be having her first party alone without Mo being her co-host. There was always something going wrong that he would help with. And then they flash back to another party in 2019, child, when he fixed something. She says, I feel a little strange, like I don't know what to put on the invitations. Kyle's house, Umansky residence. I just feel a little lost. I was thinking, just what about the address? I mean, I don't know. Kyle asks if they were tired after the trip, and Jennifer says it was a long trip. And then she brings up, turn my phone down. Then she brings up Kyle and Dorit's blow up. They show a flashback to it. Jennifer says, we were all like, oh my, but I felt like it cleared the air a bit when you were talking about how you felt and when she was talking about how she felt. Kyle says, I absolutely felt better. I felt a lot lighter the next day. Obviously, we still have to have a conversation, but it was a step or two in the right direction for sure. So then Sutton chimes in and says, well, great. Kyle then says to her, well, now you have your own problems. Sutton said, I was like, excuse me, ma'am, I'd like to take over for you, talking about Kyle. Like, basically, now I'm taking over your fight. They show a flashback of Sutton and Dorit arguing in the Sprinter. Kyle says, I mean, that went south really fast. In her confessional, Sutton says, all I was trying to do was to get all of us as a group to understand that we can express our feelings without being ostracized, without being yelled at, without being ganged up on. And Dorit just kept talking about Teddy. You're missing the point. It's not about Teddy. It's not about you specifically. This is about a bigger thing. This is about the group as a whole. Jennifer says in the scene, you know, sort of how like Miss America is when they're asked the question, they just keep talking until they think maybe they've answered. So basically, she's saying that's what Dorit is. So we see Erica arriving at Dorit's house. Jagger was off to tennis. And Dorit makes her and Erica some water and then she says, I made us some water. They laugh. And then she says, I'm tired. Erica says she was tired from Oceanside too. I know sometimes when you could take a trip like that and it's a lot of emotions, you get home and you exhausted. Erica says it took her an hour to get in the shower. There was sand everywhere. Dorit said, you're lucky with everything that's happening. Dorit said, you're lucky with everything that's happening with PK and I. I shouldn't say it's as bad as it could be. I'm sure it could be worse. Erica said it can always get lower. Dorit says we haven't spoken in 2 weeks. They showed the flashback of her and PK when they were out to dinner. And she's saying we talk 5 times a day. And PK's like, but we're not going to. Erica asks her if she feels overwhelmed. In her confessional, Erica says, I cannot imagine how hard it is to separate with little children. I was one of those children. I remember when my mom got divorced. I remember when she got separated, not once, but twice. You can try to hide it, but they feel it. They're in the house, you know? So Erica and Dorit go out by the pool, and Erica says, I know you're supported by your family, but I want you to feel supported in this group, and I know you don't. Dorit says, no, I don't. Erica says, and I also know what that feels like. Dorit says, yeah. Erica says, I hope that you and Kyle got somewhere in Oceanside. So Dorit said, we definitely did. And then Erica says, perfect. Dorit says, Kyle and I got what we needed to get, which is the beginning, where we get it all out and now we can start somewhere. And I'm happy about that. And then, so anyway, and then Erica says, first of all, I really like Bose. And Dorit says, me too. Erica says, I think she's really cool. They show a flashback of Bose, Erica, and Dorit. They were out 1 week earlier. But I like that trio. Bose is saying that she's pretty direct. Erica says, yeah, you are. Bose says, basically, she's direct not to piss people off, but she also recognizes that because of her directness, sometimes it can be, and Erica says, blunt. She doesn't ask. Erica says blunt, and Bose says, yes, I don't intend to be mean. Erica says, no, you don't need to soften for anybody. Just be yourself. So back in the scene at Dorit's pool, Erica says the pictures from Bose's trip and being with her daughter, it just looked really special. So they show pictures of Bose and her daughter on their trip. Erica says, and to think that she got to Oceanside and then the next morning she was at LAX. Dorit says, and she's flying in the morning of Kyle's party. And she says, anyway, Sutton leading the charge of sisterhood and honesty, it just felt so hypocritical. And then she raised her voice at me, and then I raised mine back, and then she's mad at me. How dare I? Erica says, well, yeah, I did lose it with her on the sprinter. They show a flashback of Erica saying, when Sutton was calling Erica out for not saying what she said to Kyle out loud, Erica was like, you were thinking it. So we're back at Jennifer Tilly's house. Kyle is saying to Sutton, so when you first brought it up to Erica, why didn't you speak up? Sutton says, yeah, because I could hear her stage whisper to you. So basically, why didn't you do it then? And Sutton says, because I could hear her stage whisper to you. Well, that's not what was said last night. So they show the flashback. By the way, all of them are wrong about Dorit because Dorit was right in that moment. She did say, we're not close, but we're friends. But anyway, all this stemmed from all of this. Sutton trying to call Erica out about not saying something out loud. And Garcelle starting it by pointing out that she thought Dorit was a hypocrite because of it. And they're all wrong in this particular thing. In her confessional, Sutton says the point of this whole sisterhood pact is that we don't talk about each other behind each other's back, especially in a whisper at the table. Do you get it, Erica? Child. In the scene back at Dorit's, Erica says, at least I had the balls to say to Kyle, that's different than what I heard last night. Was it really balls, or were you just whispering under your breath? Would balls have been just to say it out loud so that Dorit could have heard it? I mean, if she had said at the table, hey, that's not what you said last night. So I don't care that she whispered it to her. That happens. You lean over and be like, girl, what? But her saying, at least I had the balls. It's like, well, was it really the balls? But anyway, give me one second. I was like, where's my notes? Okay, so she said, whatever my comment is, at least I said it. Dorit says yes. Erica says, as Sutton is looking at me like, well, F you. In her confessional, Erica says, how many times do we say things under our breath? Do you want me to announce it to the crowd? So back at Jennifer's house, Sutton is saying, this is a dynamic of amazing group. This is a dynamic, amazing group of women. And I'm like, what has happened to us? We unraveled. Sutton says, I'm not angry with Dorit. And then Jennifer Tilley's clock starts ringing, like her antique clock. And then they just stop talking. And Sutton's kind of looking at her like, my God. So Sutton shakes her head. So Jennifer points out something. She says, oh, that's my clock. Then she points out something and says, oh, that belonged to Cher, like the singer. Sutton continues and says, I'm not angry with Dorit, but I still feel the way I feel. It's just like, that's how it goes. We can all be friends and get upset. It's all going to work out in the end. Kyle says, well, there you go. Jennifer Tilley says, and there you have it. Next, we're at Garcelle's house. She's telling her house manager, Glenda, that she can't believe she can't find a butterfly that Sutton gave her and that Sutton was on her way over. She says, Sutton is coming over today in a U-Haul. They show a flashback 5 days earlier of Garcelle calling Sutton saying, I need help, you and Avi, if you can rent a U-Haul and haul some stuff from my house to the beach house. Carrie is telling her, wait. Yes. So then Garcelle, y'all, I use voice to text when I'm taking my notes and it came out Carrie. Nobody said that. Garcelle is telling her house manager that her and Sutton are going to drive to Oxnard and asked her if she'll keep an eye on her dog, Kobe. I wonder if she named it after Kobe Bryant. At Sutton's house, she tells Ivy, excuse me, I'm drinking a Red Bull, the carbonation. We're going to help ourselves. We're going to have ourselves a little project today. We're a moving company. Avi says, I come with the Rolodex. I come with a Rolodex of movers. Like, in other words, why am I moving? We can call somebody. Sutton says, I know, but we're going to save money today and I'm going to move. Avi says, oh no, Sutton says, this is your gift. No, Avi says to Sutton, this is your gift. And Sutton says, and you're coming with me. In her confessional, Sutton says it's been almost 3 years in the making that Garcelle bought the beach house and that she's finally able to move in. They show a flashback of the beach house. They knocked it down and built it, and they built another one. Garcelle says, I've been dreaming of this day so long, it feels like Christmas time in May. I think Garcelle might have said that in her confessional, not Sutton. Anyway, Sutton and Avi show up in a U-Haul. Sutton drives the U-Haul. Garcelle tells Sutton that she looks like basically Rosie the Riveter, which she does. Garcelle says, you're a good friend. And Sutton says, yes, I am. And they hug. In the confessional, Sutton says, this is how much I love Garcelle. I wouldn't even do this for myself. I mean, maybe my children. They are literally like Sutton and Avi are literally helping Garcelle put stuff in the U-Haul. Sutton in her confessional says, basically, Avi will surprise you with how much he can lift. He's a lot stronger than he looks, especially because he's on the Ozempia thing. Child telling that man business. I think she meant Ozempic. After they loaded, Sutton drives while Garcelle and Avi sit up front. Sutton says, I just don't know where my Birkin's going to sit. So they're driving. Travel time says an hour and 20 minutes. Sutton tells Garcelle, I think you need a helicopter. Garcelle looks at Avi and then says to Sutton, are you buying me one for my housewarming? Garcelle says, it's a little less than an hour. It's a beautiful drive. Just chill. So they pull up to the beach house and she says, we're obviously working on the landscape because the landscape isn't quite done yet, but it still looks so beautiful. When you see the before, how it looked, and then how it looks now, it's beautiful. Sutton says, I loved it from the street. So I think Garcelle's beach house is really pretty. I loved her front door. Loved her front door. Y'all, she has a smug teapot and toaster. I want the black smug. So if any of y'all want my address to send me the black smug poster, I will DM you. Just DM me and I will send you my address if you're going to send me the black smug toaster. Okay. Y'all was going to say smut. But the smut. Y'all now, wait a minute. Now, why am I forgetting how to say it? Anyway, the black one. Somebody send me the toaster, please. DM me. Anyway, So in her confessional, Sutton says, this is like the moment for Garcelle. She worked so hard to buy this property. I mean, she's done it all herself, and she's done this for her family. And when you think about little Garcelle from Haiti, she says it's going to make me cry. I mean, way to go, Garcelle. She's inspiring me. And I thought that was nice. You could tell that was genuine. They go sit out on Garcelle's outside deck, and Sutton says, you are a beacon. I mean, look at what you've done with your life. Garcelle says, it's interesting because we spent the day here the other day because we were just dying to be up here. And Jax came up to me, which is one of her twins, and said, Mom, you know, you've given us a life that's already incredible. And then you did this as a single mom. And you know, they don't say stuff like that. And it really meant a lot. Sutton says it's hard to get things from our children. Sutton says, okay, we digress. I've been thinking about it a lot now with this group. There are things happening all of a sudden. There's some shifts happening, and I think we need. And Garcelle says, where? Like, where's the shifts happening? Sutton says, well, it's not just with Dorit and Kyle now. I mean, we've got me and Dorit. Garcelle says, right. Sutton said, and this is the person that I had just had a heart to heart with on the boat. They show the flashback. Sutton telling Dorit, I'll be here if you need me, child. She says, if it comes to divorce or whatever's happening with those children, if she wants me to guide her with finance stuff, the other shoe is going to drop. And Garcelle says, well, what's the other shoe? Sutton says the PK shoe. And I think that at some point she's going to realize that she's in a big mess and we're going to have to pull together for her. We will have to. Y'all, in the midst of all this, they show Avi. Child, if he ain't chilling on that porch swing, just scrolling his phone with a drink. Garcelle says, when I said last year about jewelry and the robbery, Sutton says, yeah. Garcelle says, I don't think Dorit had anything to do with that, but I think someone did. I think Dorit just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Child, Sutton says, oh, girl, y'all. Take a little sip of this Red Bull. I wish I had my string. Not my string, my straw. We're at Erica's house, and her therapist, Dr. Jen Mann, shows up. Erica says, I have a lot to tell you about things that are going to happen in this home. I will be here for a few years. I think she said 4 years in November, but I'm finally like now. And then she says, and it has a throw up of a lot of emotions, which we can get into, but I want to make this place a sanctuary so that when I come here, I feel enveloped in peace, tranquility, and glamour. Dr. Jen says, I've been wanting that for you for a long time. And Erica says, really good. In her confessional, Erica says, when I moved into the home I live in now, it was horrible. I could not step outside. And every time I did, there were terrible paparazzi pictures taken of me. She said, I wouldn't step outside. And then they show a picture. She said, I was so upset, so emotional, so down that I just hid in the house for 3 years. Erica gives Dr. Jen a coaster. Listen, I remember when she first moved into this house, I was in California, either dropping off my son at school or visiting. I think we're dropping off. Y'all, and I've said this many times before. I wish I had taken a screenshot. You know, Tom Girardi had a company set up called EJ Global. That house that she's in, the owners were first listed as two of the people in his law firm. And then the owner was listed as EJ Global. I said I'm going to go back and try to find out where I saw that, because I literally saw it with my own eyes and was like, oh my gosh, she's paying rent to herself if it's under EJ Global. Anyway, that was that. She said, Erica says she's able to start over. The fact that she's able to start over is a big deal, and to put pretty new things in the house. I'm excited about life again. I no longer want to be a hermit. These are big changes for me. Erica tells Dr. Jen, these last few years, I was just trying to survive. So many legal fights, personal fights, to which brings me to my next point. Sutton gave a speech in Oceanside about sisterhood, but then the next morning she points me out and made some comment to Kyle about what Dorit said, and apparently it wasn't good enough, or I should have brought it up to the entire group. In her confessional, Erica says, speaking about Sutton's personality, why is it inconsistent? There has been these occasions in which Sutton feels like she's being left out of things and her personality flips. We go back to 2021, and I'm just go ahead and move on through this because you've been listening long enough. Y'all know. Y'all already know how I feel about Sutton. And don't tell me, oh, she's friends with Garcelle. Y'all already know how I feel about Sutton. Moving on. I'm going to keep it cute. Erica says, I've seen her get angry about it, and I've seen her get insecure, and they show a flashback of them at Magic Mike. Basically, they're wondering, is Sutton all upset all of a sudden because none of the men picked her to dance with? Anyway, Erica says in her confessional, I'm not really here to diagnose personality disorders, but I mean, I have one. And she takes a sip of her Coke. Erica tells Dr. Jen, I've worked so hard um, to basically move past it and to move forward. Why do I get, and I hate this word, but triggered like that? I'm with Erica about that word. I remember when Sutton came on the show and it was with Sutton and Crystal, and it was like, when Crystal said that she was crazy after she sat in her face and cried with a face roller and insisted on being in Crystal's face. People were like, oh, that's probably triggering to Sutton. That word to me, it's just not everyone that uses it is ever using it, but sometimes I do feel like it's a bit of a shield. But anyway, Dr. Jen says Sutton tends to trigger you for a number of reasons. I think that anytime you get a should, your knee-jerk reaction is F you. Don't tell me what to do. How dare you judge me? F off. Erica said, well said, and laughed. Dr. Jen said that it's historical for you. And I think it's less about Sutton and more about your history of the shoulds in this group of women. And I think also that you have your own list of shoulds of what the women should have done for you. Erica said it's interesting you say that because Sutton threw a surprise pajama party for Kyle. They flash back to the pajama and pizzas that they did for Kyle. It was Kathy, Erica, and Sutton. Erica says, but I was not given a pizza party. I was actually met with a lot of judgment. Dr. Jen said, you didn't get a pizza party because your divorce wasn't clean. Erica says, no. Meaning, no, her divorce wasn't clean. Dr. Jen says, the earrings and all of that crap that made you the villain. And they show the headlines about Erica and these earrings. Dr. Jen says, and then you, Erica, participated in it and only made it worse. And Erica said, yes, I did. I said, come on, Dr. Jen. They show a flashback of her going off on Sutton. Erica says there was also, and then Dr. Jen says, Lexapro and alcohol. Erica says, yes, that's not the best combination. Dr. Jen says, no, that's not pizza party like behavior. Erica says, no. Dr. Jen says maybe at some point there is a pizza party with these women where they're able to acknowledge the issue you took, and you can further acknowledge the issue that you shouldn't have. Erica says maybe they can come over when we redo the house. Dr. Jen said, yeah, I think that would be the perfect pizza party. And by the way, I'll be on call for you that night. And they laughed. Erica said, please do. I think you know your client. Hold on, y'all. We're at Kyle's house and it looks like they're setting up for her denim and diamonds party. She's getting her makeup done and says, I'm going to come in on that little minion naked like a Lady Godiva. Dorit is at her home getting her glam done, and she says, tonight is denim and diamonds, and I pulled from my collection, which is all vintage. Her glam says archived. It looks archived. It looks like Western couture to me. Dorit says, thank you. It is. Child, that is like a high compliment for Dorit. We see Erica sitting in a cowboy hat saying, I haven't ridden a bull since my great-grandmother's funeral. Such a good time. I said, Erica. Kyle comes downstairs at her home outside and walks outside, sees it setting up. She's in a black vest, pants, like cowboy-ish, cowgirl-ish. Y'all, I meant to come down here and give y'all this review in a cowboy hat, and it just dawned on me. I forgot. I really did forget, y'all. Hold on a second. This ain't Texas. Ain't no hold on. Something down, 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 down. If y'all are listening, y'all got to go watch the video so y'all can see me in my head. Anyway, because I'm a part of the show too. I'm a part of the party too. Kyle comes downstairs in her cowboy hat and she sees Camille. Camille arrives. Camille asks her, how are you doing? Kyle says it's been really rough. It's weird because it's her first party. And Camille says without him. Kyle says yes. He's in his bachelor pad, no responsibilities. Camille says it's a party for them, like for the men, midlife crisis. This is fun. In her confessional, Kyle says, I think that right now Camille is projecting a bit. Has Mo done a few things that I could have lived without that I've had to see on the internet? Yes, for sure. But Camille's experience and my experience are both very different. It could be a lot worse. Child, as they show headlines of Mauricio going skiing with women and I think holding hands with somebody's child. And then they just released him and his new boo the other day. This ain't Texas. Sorry, y'all. Okay. The people are arriving to Kyle's party, and Garcelle arrives, and Kyle tells Garcelle there's a tattoo artist, and apparently he's really cute. Garcelle said, well, that might change where I decide to get it. Sutton, Jennifer Tilly, and Sutton's daughter Porter arrive. In her confessional, Jennifer says people always say to her, oh, what are you wearing to the party? And she always says, oh, don't mind me. I'm going to be egregiously overdressed. Life is short. I have fabulous jewelry. I have fabulous clothes. If I want to wear my fabulous jewelry and clothes to the local Starbucks, so be it. I said, I agree, because I'm going to start wearing my stuff again and not my gym clothes every day. But it is more comfortable when I'm working sometimes. Anyway, Erica and Dorit arrive together. Dorit says, I want to have a drink. I want to chill. In her confessional, Dorit says, I want to laugh. I want to have a good time. I want to forget about my troubles. I want to not feel worried and panic and as if my life is going up in smoke for just 1 hour. Bose arrives looking as good as she want to look, honey. She smacked Kyle's butt and Kyle didn't react. And Bose says, you didn't even react to that. In her confessional, Bose says her daughter and her were just in Brazil and they show pictures of them. She says it was to celebrate her 15th birthday because every year she takes her away to a destination in the world wherever she wants to go. Her daughter has to present the idea and they show her daughter presenting the idea and basically defending her position. She said, I approve and I pay. My father-in-law did that. My sister-in-law wanted the family to go to Disney and he said, make it make sense. Give me a presentation. She did budget everything and they went. Bose asked Dorit, where did you get these talking about her pants? She says, vintage. They were in my collection. Bose says, well, they fit you. Did you get it tailored? And Dorit says, no. Bose said, let me turn around, girl, on a cute little booty too. Sutton says, oh, I'm going to go watch Garcelle get a tattoo to Bose. And Bose says, Garcelle, you're getting a tattoo? And Garcelle says, yes. So Bose says, what are you getting? And she says, I'm going to get 1111. That's my favorite numbers. She asks Bose, is she going to get one? And Bose says, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about what I want to get. Y'all, the way those two look at each other, it was just like black girls looking at each other and just look like recognizing. I posted a picture in brown skin girls. I just love the way they looked at each other. And Garcelle tells her to get badass bitch. Bose says, okay, you know what? You're off the voting committee. Side note, when I posted that about Bose and Garcelle, for the most part, people agreed. They loved seeing them together. And then I had some white folks in my comments, and I'm going to say it saying that Garcelle is jealous of Bose. And I don't know what you're watching, but they hate each other. Get out of here. There is a look that we give each other that we know what's up and it's internal. And that was a look that Garcelle and Bose gave each other. And I absolutely love to see it. And I'm going to keep saying it. I just think it's really weird how people are trying to find an issue with them. Now, I did say in the beginning, because of Garcelle's dislike of Dorit and both, because of their relationship, rather. And we see that Bose seems to have taken a liking to Dorit. I hope that doesn't cause friction with them. But honestly, they're two smart women. They're adults. It's not going to, I'm sure. But those of y'all who want there to be something, y'all are weird. Anyway, Garcelle goes to get her 1111 tattoo. She tells the tattoo artist, I just don't know where to get it. He says, well, I'll help you. She says, okay, good. He picks the outside of her wrist. She tells him not too big, and she says, I'm excited. Kathy says, where did you do it? Because Kathy comes over and says, where did you do it? And Garcelle says, we haven't done it yet. We're about to. And shows her where she's getting it. Kathy says, it's angel numbers. Sutton says, not 4. That's the number of the devil. Now, I never heard a number 4 being the number of the devil, child. Maybe I'm missing something. Garcelle says, no, it's not. And her and Kathy both say it's 666. Garcelle says, thank you, Kathy. And Sutton says, I was kidding. Child, no, she wasn't. She just don't like not knowing. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You were not kidding. Anyway, as Garcelle's getting her tattoo, Garcelle says to Sutton, I didn't tell you this. So I had a really heartfelt conversation with Kyle. I feel like we stay on the surface and we don't go deeper. And I actually said to her that I would like to go deeper because we have a lot in common, especially now that she's maybe getting a divorce, kids are leaving the house. So we had a great talk, but she told me that PK texts her. I think she said Texas, like the theme of the party. No, I'm just kidding. They show the flashback of Kyle telling Garcelle that on the boat. Garcelle says, I would have a problem with that. My possible ex-husband is texting my girlfriend. Sutton says, but Kyle told me that Dorit knows that they talk. Garcelle says, if that's the case, amazing. I personally, Garcelle Bouvet, would care. I would care if my ex-husband was texting you. I would not be okay with that. Sutton says, yeah, but she hasn't talked to Dorit in months. Maybe she feels closer to PK. So Garcelle says, I think it's a little weird. In her confessional, Garcelle says, I've always known that PK and Dorit and Mo would hang out. And I know Kyle thinks that PK is so funny. But once the dynamic shifted between Dorit and PK, that should stop. I mean, I guess it just depends on the people. Maybe Dorit really doesn't mind because she knows that PK and Kyle are really friends. And it just is what it is. Garcelle loves her tattoo. I'm taking off my hat now. Oh, child. Y'all saw it though. Y'all seen it. I don't know whose hat this is. I think that was my son's hat or my daughter's hat. Child, somebody hat. Anyway, Bose, Dorit, and Erica are sitting down, and Bose says, how do we feel about being here? Because we haven't talked. Again, love this trio. Dorit says, Sutton raising her voice to me in the sprinter. And Bose says, oh boy. Dorit says, something. Sutton and I have known each other for a few years, and we've never, ever settled into a friendship where it's consistent. Erica says, it's not stable. Wait. And then Erica says, it's good. And then it flips out. Bo says, okay, I have a thought. Do we need to bring this to now I'm going to call it a tribal council, bring everybody together. Erica says, why don't you do that? Bo says, we do need to do that. Erica says, I think we do. Dorit says, I think so. Bo says, because I feel like, well, if we're going to talk about it, there was already the beef where it was like, oh, I can't talk to you by yourself. Meaning her and Dorit. They did a flashback in the sprinter, Garcelle mentioning Bose and Dorit's long conversation, and everybody felt left out. So Bose says to Garcelle, not everything is for everybody at the table. And she didn't say it mean, she just said, well, that's what it is. In her confessional, Bose says, I like the idea of having a tribal council where everybody brings every problem, every observation to the whole group, but it's not realistic. All the ladies end up coming over and sitting down. Bose says that I've already seen in the big groups, we're not talking about anything deep. She's saying this in a confessional. We're just arguing. And then she says, actually, I'm not going to say we. They start arguing. So as they're all talking to Jennifer about Jennifer's necklace and Jennifer telling them it's Chanel, here comes Sutton. Okay, y'all, I know. And Jennifer says, okay, no pleasantries, because Sutton is now taking over. And Sutton starts clapping her hands and says, I just have to do it because. And Jennifer Tilly says, hold on to your hats, girls. Sutton says, I'm sorry, but I don't want us to be so disjointed. I really meant it when we had our last night at Oceanside. I mean, when I say sisterhood, honesty, child, I'm so sick of this word sisterhood. I guess Erica is too, because in the confessional, Erica says, oh my God, I've been so tired of these speeches for years and I've been holding it in. I'm just trying to move forward, man. Just give me an effing break. So in the scene, Sutton says, and I feel like we're all talking behind each other's backs, and I really want us to feel free and open and honest with one another. Erica says, I do appreciate the sisterhood moment. I really do. And I think it's sincere. But the one thing I would like to say to you, since we're all being open, is that you're volatile. In her confessional, Jennifer Tilly says, I don't think she meant it as a compliment. I think she meant it as a put down. But I do think it's a good description of Sutton. Now, Taria, me personally, let's look up the word. Because remember when they tried to tell Crystal what word she couldn't use, even though she was using the right word, because there's more than one definition of the word she used, which was violation. Let's look up volatile. Let's go to Merriam. According to Marilyn Webster, characterized by or subject to rapid or unexpected change. So it doesn't mean violent. It means characterized by or subject to rapid or unexpected change. Unable to hold the attention fixed because of an inherent lightness or fickleness of disposition. Then another one is tending to erupt into violence, easily aroused. Oh, what kind of arousal is they talking about? So readily vaporizable at a relatively low temperature. Anyway, characterized by or subject to rapid or unexpected change. They say sudden changes on a whim, so they in fact would be using the correct terminology because words mean things. Anyway, Erica says you're inconsistent. It's great. And then it gets flipped on its head. Boom. Characterized by or subject to rapid or unexpected change. Sutton says, no, I'm truthful. I was just calling something out. The truth is, when the sun shines, it's daylight. When the moon is out, like, and then it gets dark. The truth is, the sun is orange, whatever. The sky is blue. That's the truth. Everything, just because you feel something doesn't make it fact. Feelings aren't always factual. So when Sutton says, no, I'm always truthful, no, not in that way. Sutton finds a way to center herself. And so she feels like whatever she's feeling at the moment, that's the truth of the moment. And that's not always the case. Anyway, she says, I was just calling something out. Dorit says, but sometimes you overreact, Sutton, when you're stressed. Sutton gets elevated immediately and says, wait a minute, wait 1 second. Dorit says, please don't raise your voice, Sutton. I'm not in a place where I appreciate that. I had a strong reaction when you did it last time. Please. Sutton said, do you know how many times I have not been in a place where I've appreciated people yelling at me in this group? So hang on. Erica says, have you thought about like what you said to get them to yell? Sutton says, hold on. And then I will talk in a very soft voice for you. Dorit says, talk normal. Just don't raise your voice. Sutton says, I'm going to talk normal for you. No, you should be talking normal for everybody. Okay, calm down, Taria. Dorit says, you can't be real and honest, so you can't lead the charge. I do say I have to agree because emotionally Sutton gets invested, which I get it, right? We all have our feelings, our thoughts. Some of us lead with our emotions a little bit more than others. Sutton feels like if it's her emotion, it's right. That's how I feel. So it's like, no, you're not the right person to lead this charge. Sutton says, Dorit, you sometimes don't listen. Erica says, but that's been 10 years. She ain't never going to listen. Garcelle said, but that's what I'm saying. We've been trying to get Dorit to shut up for 10 years. Dorit just looks at Garcelle. Kyle asked Sutton, which I did appreciate, what is the point you want to make to them? What is weighing on you the most? So I appreciated Kyle being direct and asking her. Sutton says, my point was that we can be honest. And Erica interrupts and says, we'll lead by example. Sutton says, I'm trying to. Dorit says, no, you're not. You're talking the talk without walking the walk. Child, Sutton gets a little bit elevated and says, I'm trying to, Dorit, are you? And Dorit says, here we go. Here we go. Sutton says, here we go. I'm going to speak. Taria, just keep going. If harsh tones will help you, I'm trying to. And Dorit says, this is not genuine. This is not kind. And this is not real. Sutton says, this is as real as it gets. Dorit changes her voice into a baby voice and says, is it? Is it really real? Erica says, no, baby. No, no, no. Dorit says, come on, Sutton. Sutton says, you're angry and you're not angry at me. You're angry at your life. In her confessional, Dorit says, ladies and gentlemen, meet Sutton Strack, the woman who loves to support other women at their lowest. Dorit, I'm with you 1000%. But so Dorit says 1000%. I'm not in a good place, Sutton. Don't take it out on me. Wait, and I'm sorry. She says, I'm not in a good place, Sutton, as Sutton is telling Dorit, don't take it out on me. Now, Dorit wasn't really elevating her voice up until this point. Dorit says, remember, as Sutton is saying, it's not my fault that you were in that position that you're in the position you're in. In her confessional, Kyle says, Sutton, too far, low blow. Why would you say that to her right now? By the way, I agree, but I'm not going to say that to her right now. I mean, but you just said it. But to your point, you didn't say it to her. Erica tells Sutton, don't say ish that you're going to regret. Sutton says, I'm not. Dorit says, no, you've been waiting to say that, haven't you? No. And then she says, because you're not wrong. You actually came to me. And Sutton says, I rarely am wrong. Boy, I know Dorit can irk my nerves sometimes, but boy, Sutton has a way of irking and tap dancing on my nerves. So Dorit says, really? And Sutton shrugs her shoulders. Dorit says, I'm being honest and open and truthful and transparent. My life sucks right now. I'm not in a good place at all. And you can see the look on Garcelle's face, like, wow, that sucks. You could tell that Garcelle felt that. And so Dorit says, I have zero tolerance for more BS. It's as simple as that. How's that for transparent and open and honest? Sutton says, great. Now, ma'am, I didn't just talk. Dorit says, what else? Sutton says, Dorit, I'm not angry with you. I raised my voice in the sprinter because I feel like you were not listening and understanding the bigger point. It was not about you. It's about all of us being able to talk and understand that when we're having a moment that we can still be friends afterwards. Dorit said, I understood that very well. Bose interjects and says, but you know what? But you know what? Can I say that we also can't weaponize our moments of vulnerability? Sutton says, who's weaponizing? Bose says, you just did. Sutton said, when? Bose said, just now. Sutton said, how? Bose says, when you said that she's not mad at you, she's mad at her life. That's weaponizing. Erica says, that's low. In her confessional, Bose says, you take the horrible situation that's happening in somebody's life and turn it around, sharpen it, and stick them with it. Ugh, that's war. I said, in the scene, Bose says, that's not fair to Sutton. In her confessional, Bose says, absolutely out of bounds. So Bose then says, if we're all going to be honest, Bose says, if we're all going to be honest, if you know that, you can't weaponize that. Boy, this pissed me off because Bose was low key reading something just a little bit, not even reading, just kind of like checking her. Here comes Camille. She butts in and says, I'm sorry to butt in. But years ago, my house burned down and I lost my house. I lost my assistant of many, many years. And I didn't get a lot of compassion or empathy from some, especially Dorit. Dorit says, honey, you were a cunt to me. Garcelle says, damn. In her confessional, Kyle said, whoa, whoa. Where did that come from? In her confessional, Garcelle says, damn, right out the gate, Dorit. Sutton in her confessional says, Dorit, why must we use the C word even though you're being one? Let's not use it. Well, that's not being open, transparent, and honest, is it, Sutton? Dorit says, you were a total cunt to me. You know why? Because in one moment, Camille says, you called me an effing cunt. Dorit says, I called you a stupid effing cunt. Garcelle says, wow. Dorit says, not an effing cunt. I did it as a joke. They show a flashback. We all see that it was a joke, even though PK was like Dorit, but we see that it was a joke. In her confessional, Dorit says, once upon a time, I regretted calling Camille a cunt. Now I feel like Camille is a stupid effing cunt. When I was doing the review, I said, how many times is we going to say this word? It doesn't offend me though. Dorit says, I said you were a stupid cunt as a joke. Camille says, okay, I didn't know it at the time, but after I found out, but not at the time. Well, if you found out afterwards, why are you bringing it up now? Because that means you did find out before today and you've seen Dorit before today, like last year. Okay. Anyway. Ooh, child. Dorit says, you always knew it, Camille. Camille says, I did not know at the time, Dorit. I did not know at the time, Dorit, that you used it. Dorit said, you needed a moment. Camille says, no, I didn't. Dorit says, you always need a moment. Dorit, you always need a moment. Camille says, oh, really? Erica says, Dorit, look at me, sweetheart. Come on. Camille says, the person that takes selfies all the time, they have to wait for hours to show up at events because you're taking photo shoots. And then Sutton shakes her head like she agrees. Dorit said, wait, I'm sorry. Dorit said, and there was nothing. I said, come on, Dorit. There was nothing that Camille could say. You make them wait for hours taking photo shoots. And you thought I was going to say, no, I don't. So you could throw up an example. And child. Camille says, I feel like you put them on hold. Dorit said, who's them? And she kind of laughs. Camille says, your friends. Dorit says, Where have you been, Camille? Why are you here? What are you doing here? You need a moment. Camille says, you're still condescending. That's my point. You've always been condescending to me. Dorit says, Lord have mercy. Now, mind you, Camille just told Dorit, you've been condescending. Okay. Dorit said, Lord have mercy. Camille says, I did feel bad for you the first day I met you at my house when you came to my house with her and pointed at Erica. That's not condescending because who is her? Who is her? I wish Erica had said who, or even Dorit had been like, who is her? But Camille, you just said Dorit was condescending, and now you're pointing to Erica when you came to my house with her. Child, Erica shook her head and said, my name is Erica. My name is Erica. My name is Erica. In her confessional, Erica says, cunt. Camille says in the scene, you're a different person now. And she says this to Dorit. I don't know what happened to you, but you've changed. Erica says, Camille, come on, you know what she's been going through. Camille says, I know, and I feel bad, and I went through a lot too, Erica. Erica says, we've all gone through a lot. Garcelle says, we've all gone through a lot. It's not a competition. Sutton says, I really meant what I said. I will always be there for you when or if you ever need me. Dorit said, I would really love to believe that, Sutton. So then Sutton rolls her eyes. And Dorit says, but actions are going to speak louder than words. Sutton said, your actions too, honey. In her confessional, Dorit says, I don't think Sutton gives an F about me and what I'm going through. I think Sutton cares more about looking like an empathetic friend, far more than being a sincere, empathetic friend. Kyle says in the scene, okay, everyone can work on their actions and their delivery. Garcelle says, everybody. Kyle says, and I'm not holding on to a grudge. Jennifer Tilly says, well, Kyle, it's been a wonderful party. Thank you. Kyle says thanks, and the episode is over until next week. This was the best part of the episode to me at that table. Dorit, I'm sorry, she was eating Camille up. I don't care. Eating them up. When she started yawning, and that Anne threw me. You make them wait hours doing photo shoots. Anne? I said, come on, Dorit. I enjoyed that was my favorite part of the scene. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the episode, and I will talk to y'all later. See you.